history beginning in 2005 and ending in 2019 when he retired. He was 71. The lights at Westerly High School's Sal Aguirre Field remain inoperable after a recent test and inspection of the system. School district officials will now turn their attention to developing a plan to replace the decades-old system, as the lights up now have been decommissioned. Officials are putting together a plan to pay for and replace everything.
The managing director of Paragon Trust Company and tax and private client practitioner joins us to bring a common sense approach to money in a world of total insanity. Let's welcome Tony D'Angelo.
All right, so every Tuesday morning we bring on the one and only Tony D to talk about all things, but lately we focused on what's happening in the governor's mansion up in Hartford. Tony, first, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Lee Elci. I'm proud to be among everybody.
I appreciate it. It was good seeing you on Saturday, my friend.
It was such a nice time. It really was, to get out in good weather and talk to folks and, really put faces to names. And it really was a charge. And, Kathy just absolutely loved it. As we were talking, one of the most, I'm going to say, just moving or chilling things to me was standing by the large steel structure, whatever you want to call it, and a young lady was reading the Declaration of Independence. I had never, in all of my years, I had never heard the Declaration of Independence read publicly. It was chilling to me, and then I look over to my right, and here's Kathy reciting the words. She knows. And it was just, and I think it was indicative, and I think it was instructive, because what it really told me was that our political class, Democrat, Republican, Martian, German, Armenian, they've lost the public. They've lost what the public wants to see in government. Low taxes, freedom, safety, education, the right to free enterprise. I mean, it's like, you can't have any of that. And, it's not what I saw. It was great to see that energy. And I was, to meet people of opposing viewpoints. I mean, that's America. I mean, we've just lost it. It's a shame.
I have to say it was, far better than I could have ever imagined it was going to be. I think the folks who ran it did not a good job, a great job. Security was there. The way they brought people in and out, the actual building itself, the equipment, the speeches. I mean, it was a home run. It was a home run.
They've got a great place. I was chatting with Kevin Allen yesterday, and they've got a great place to go for. Just, who do you want to see next? I'm going to leave that to them. I've made a couple of suggestions, but if they look at it as to the type of thing that I believe the state needs and America needs, I mean, man, they caught lightning in a bottle. They really did.
Yeah, it was good, and I'm sure it'll build, and more people will go next time. I was surprised going in, just the sheer number of cars. Again, I've been to these rallies before, and usually, as I said on the air, they're disappointing, not from the enthusiasm of the people that show up, but just the sheer numbers. But hey, listen, when you got 2,000 people, it changes the dynamic. There's no question about it.
Isn't that the ostensible thing, Lee Elci? Because it's like, I think if you were to take every either-or established political party, they couldn't generate that many people at one place and one time. Now, what does it tell you when something that's essentially nonpartisan, based on freedom and the right to live as an American, brings a few thousand people?
Right. No,
got to tell you, even a stupid guy like me, it's got to tell me something.
Well, you're far from stupid. Let's get into some of the things you wanted to talk about.
Ned's been job shopping.
Okay, where? Down in Washington?
Down in the district, yeah, and he's been kind of poking around, and I think really Ned is kind of in a position right now where sooner or later you have to account for your sins. And if you look at our state Republican Party, and my estimation, they've been somewhat stiff-necked, if I could use the old biblical term. Who now, just now, finally the light's beginning to go on that, yes, Ned's involved in some fraud, maybe, and maybe the state Republican Party gets about 15% of like the other 85% we've discussed on this show. But basically, put Ned in the debate, we'll do a little Rod Serling picture, if you will, and whoever the candidate is mentions something about, which they tend to like, the no-bid SEMA 4 contract. And what's Ned going to do? Hamina, hamina, hamina? Of course it's happening. So my estimation is that he's been job shopping. He wants to go somewhere else. And The good thing is, okay, you say, hey, great, got rid of Ned. The sad thing is, because of the lack of acuity and prosecution and aggressiveness and everything that Ned's done, we're left with all these messes after he goes off to his cushion. And, that's the good thing and that's the irritating thing. But that's my sentiment and that's my prediction.
What kind of a job is he looking for down there?
Oh, I don't know. It's like where do you stick a bagman? Where do you stick a functional incompetent? Clink glasses and hand over money. Let your imagination run wild. I really don't know. Would you have this man wash your truck? Come on.
Oh, there you go. That's enough said. All right, what was part two?
More fraud. Okay, we've got another elephant in the living room, the DeMassa thing in West Haven. And I have read every single poor excuse, every single, her state-run media thing, every single, clueless politician come out of like, oh, this is an isolated incident and there's no issues here. And, you can't examine what somebody's handing over, but, we can control the opposites. It's like, let's just look at what this kid did. 21 separate invoices over 6 months. 21. And not only that, but it was cash and carry. He was paid the next day. It's like, to anybody who's ever had a contract with an institution, you happen to be talking to one of these unfortunate people, and you're practically bringing flowers to the payables girl so you get your check in so you could do your payroll. It's like, don't tell me two things, Lee Elci. Don't tell me that you can't control this. And don't tell me that Executive Order Ned cannot write an executive order immediately to say, we freeze all these payments until we go down and start to look at what's there. And like, where do you look? Well, it's simple. Start to look at anything with LLC or LLP that was formed in January of 2021, like DeMassa's thing was, and, maybe give that a little bit harder look. And the most galling and irritating thing to me is we now have the blame the casino excuse. Well, it's the casino that made the kid go wrong. We have degenerated. I was thinking about this yesterday. I was laughing so hard I almost drove the car off the road. We have come to the point of we're now at Reverend Leroy in the church of what's happening now. Flip Wilson, the devil made me do it. It's like, everybody's got an excuse. Nobody's got a solution.
Yeah. No, listen, that is going to be trumpeted over and over again. And when you have gambling on everything, and I grew up in a household where, nobody had an issue laying $5 down, $10 down, $20 down in the game. It just was part of life.
Well, we had slips in Stanford.
Right. So the idea of that doesn't offend me, but man, even my senses are on overload. Everything is gambling. So no, I don't, that's not an excuse for me as far as I'm concerned. Let me ask you a question as far as that whole story goes. Him being able to turn around and get cash in a day tells me there's got to be somebody else in on this, right?
Well, one other person signed off on the invoices, but the thing is, $1.2 million to you, to me, that's a gargantuan amount of money. But, in the municipal sense, that is not a difficult amount to keep track of. And, it's when you start giving money to people that never were able to handle it in the first instance. And then, there's no controls, and it's like, well, we got this thing in the bag. It's like, what could possibly go wrong? Please.
So what do you think?
It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, no, it is nuts. And again, this is just, going to get bigger. Maybe it gets bigger and bigger before we find out everything that's happening.
Well, and two things I want to mention that, this is just not me going off at the mouth, but be it the CARES Act or be it the American Rescue Plan Act, there are strict prohibitions and contemporaneous public disclosures that are supposed to happen before anything gets out. And this is all in the language. This is all in the bill. This is all in the procedures. I was going down it. We should be able as citizens to go to Waterford website or Pomfret website or whatever the case may be. This is what came in. This is what went out and to whom, because it's supposed to be for a public benefit to mitigate the effects of the coronavirus. And this is money going out, and they're just blowing by the thing. But, hey, it's Connecticut. They make up their own rules.
No question about it. Tony D'Angelo joins me each and every Tuesday, and as always, folks, they reach out to me often and want me to pass along a question. I want to remind everybody, you can do that, or you can reach out to Tony himself. Tony, did you want to give your contact Twitter information at the very least?
Oh, sure. Tony D'Angelo 7. Please send me a message.
Yeah, so that way you can get on something. Maybe you're confused about something bothers you. Tony loves to dig into some of that stuff. All right, we got anything else before we run out of time?
Well, yeah, really quickly, and this is something maybe we'll look at a little bit, but this is really particularly galling to me. The surplus supposedly in this budget, which was generated by the by CARES Act funding and ARPA funding, came down and actually started to buttress the pension, which is point of fact illegal, because both the American Rescue Plan Act and the CARES Act say you cannot use this for pensions, but hey, guess what? You know, we control the media, 72 million. We're going to do whatever in the heck we want. And I'm going to save the rest of that for next time, because there are things in the state pension fund that, frankly, are very much concerning to me. If I were a retiree, I'd be nervous, frankly, but there's like, we're not seeing accountability. I was trying to find annual reports on the site. The treasurer hasn't produced an annual report since 2018. I mean, it's always cloak and dagger, and then they want to tell us everything's okay. I'll leave you for that for next week.
All right, TD. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it as always.
Take care.
All right, pal. Tony D.